Hello and welcome to Module 4, in which I'm going to be talking about Facebook advertising. So in the first part of this section, I'm going to be discussing pixels, which are used to send event-driven data back to Facebook. And I'm discussing this first because it's a prerequisite, in my opinion, to running any advertising on Facebook. So pixels are something that you need to get set up on your store before you start your first Facebook campaign. Okay, so in this video I'm going to be discussing what pixels are and why we use them, and then how to go about setting up the pixels on your store. So what is a pixel? A pixel is a snippet of code that you will place on your website. Okay, so the code is actually provided by Facebook within your ad manager. And this code sends information back to Facebook when somebody takes a specific action on your store. So for example, when they visit a page, or if they view a particular product, if they add a product to their cart, or if they purchase a product. So each time somebody takes an action such as this, we are going to send that information back to Facebook. So Facebook is continually gathering data on what visitors that we send from our ads, some from our Facebook ads through to our store, do when they reach our website. So why do we use pixels? Well, firstly, using pixels allows us to build audiences on Facebook. So if we are advertising a particular shirt or a particular piece of jewellery, we can build up an audience on Facebook of people who have visited that specific item. We can also do the same thing for people who've added that particular item to their cart. And we can do this in any way we want. We can do it specifically for particular items, and this is something I'll go into more detail about later in the course in Module 6, where I talk about advanced Facebook tracking. Or we can also simply create an audience of all people who came to our site and added an item to their cart. So these are people who have purchasing or buyer intent. And then further to this, we can then build audiences of customers. So again, all the customers from our website, or people who bought particular products, or people who bought a particular category of product. All of these options become available to us when we use pixels. And why, you might say, why do we want to build these audiences at all? Well, building these audiences opens up retargeting to us. And by retargeting, what I mean is we can then start adverts which specifically go out to people who previously visited our site, or people who previously added items to their cart, or people who previously made purchases. So we can set up all of these different types of retargeting advertising campaigns once we start building audiences using pixels. Next, we can create lookalike audiences, which are incredibly powerful. So once we have an audience of people who visited a particular product, or who've added a particular product to their cart, or purchased a product, and that audience is large enough, so once it has 100 or more members, that's Facebook's policy with regard to creating a lookalike audience. So once we have an audience with 100 or more members, we can go ahead and create a Facebook lookalike audience from that audience. And in this way, we're using Facebook's own data to create our advertising audiences. So we can go from an audience of 100 or more visitors to our website to an audience of 2 million, or all the way up to about 25 million people that Facebook determines are most like the seed audience, so the people who visited our website, which is incredibly powerful, because as you're going to see as we go through my strategy for Facebook advertising, the focus of the whole thing is to get Facebook to do the work for us. So to get Facebook to tell us who the people most likely to make purchases on our store are. And lookalike audiences is a key to this. And again, we need to use pixels in the first place so that we can start to create audiences and then create lookalike audiences. And thirdly, ad optimization. So when we use Facebook advertising, we can tell Facebook to optimize our advertising in a particular way. So we can say to Facebook, given this audience of however many it might be, 1 million people, I want you to pick the people within that 1 million audience most likely to visit my website, or most likely to add an item to their cart, or most likely to purchase. We can tell Facebook to optimize our ads based on the user behavior on our website. And we can only use this ability or this function on Facebook if we are sending all of this data back to Facebook as the campaign unfolds. So we need to set up the pixels in order to send the data back to Facebook so that then Facebook can optimize our advertising for us. Okay, so these are the main reasons that we need to get the pixels installed before we start running advertising on Facebook. So we're building up all of this data as we go. Essentially, paying for advertising on Facebook has two different purposes. One is obviously to get paying customers into our store, but secondly, it's building up data. And the reason is, as we progress and we build more and more data on Facebook about our customers, about those with purchasing intent, about our visitors, Facebook is going to be able to optimize our advertising far faster, and we're going to end up getting a far greater return on investment for our Facebook advertising. Okay, so that's why we use pixels. And now, how about setting the pixels up? So they're basically two parts, and this is all using the new custom audience pixel on Facebook. So if you've never used Facebook advertising before, you don't need to worry, because this is all going to be explained. If you have been using Facebook advertising and you haven't yet switched to the new custom audience pixel, which has been around now for the last few months, then now is the time to do it. Okay, and I'm going to explain in detail how to use the pixel and how to set it up on your site. So there's two parts to this. First is the base code. So this is a snippet of code that you'll get from your Facebook Ads Manager, and you're going to make sure this code is on every single page of your store that you want to track. Okay, so you go to the custom audience pixel section in your Ads Manager, and once these slides are finished, I'm actually going to cut over to my screen and I'm going to go through this in my own Ads Manager and on my own store, showing you how to set all of this stuff up. But this is just an introduction to this section. And then once you've got your pixel code from your custom audience pixel section of the Ads Manager, you're going to paste it onto every page on your store that's to be tracked. So there's two places to do this. One is in the theme.liquid code on your Shopify store, and the second is in the checkout additional content and scripts section. So don't worry again if this means nothing to you at this point, because in a minute I'm going to cut over and show you how this plays out. Okay, and it's nothing more than cutting and pasting. Okay, you're just going to cut and paste some code from Facebook and paste it into your store, and I'll show you the correct sections to do that in. Okay, so that's the base code, and this is going to go onto every page that's going to be tracked. And then the second section of the pixel setup, this is the event specific code. Okay, and there are three types of event in particular that we are interested in tracking. The first is view content. So this is when visitor views a particular product on your website, and we're going to insert this bit of code onto the product.liquid page. So this is the template from which all of our product pages are built, and I've just put what the code looks like there. It's very simple, just FBQ track view content. And again, I'm going to cut over in a minute to show you exactly where you paste this into your store backend. Okay. And the second is the add to cart code. So this is the code that's going to be generated when a visitor adds a particular product or a set of products to their cart. This goes in the cart.liquid page. And then thirdly, the purchase event code. And this is when a visitor makes a purchase on your store. And this is going to go into the additional content and scripts section in your checkout admin. Okay, so I'm going to cut over to my screen and show you how to set all of this up. This, I should note at this point, is the basic pixel setup that you should get going before you start any Facebook advertising. There is, and I'm going to go through it later in Module 6, the advanced Facebook tracking section, a more in-depth set of information that you can send back to Facebook for each of these events. And again, it's very, very important going forward that you do so, but in this section I'm just covering the basic pixel setup so that you can get set up and get going with your Facebook ads. So then later you can visit Module 6, the advanced Facebook setup, and you can see how we can take this setup to the next level. Okay, so now I'm going to cut over to my screen and show you how we go about setting up these pixels, the base pixel code and the pixel event code on our Shopify store. Okay, so here we are over in my Facebook Ads Manager, okay, and I want to go over to the tools, and then pixels section. And then from this, I should be in the custom audience pixel section by default, and I'm going to go to actions and view pixel code. Okay, so this is where I will get the base pixel and then the event pixel code, which I'm going to paste into my store. Okay, so first if I click in the top section, this is the base pixel code. So I'm going to pick it up, and I have a text editor ready, and I'm simply going to paste it into my text editor. And then from there, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it later. Okay, so we're going to start off just pasting it in here so we can have a look at it. And this is the base pixel code that I showed you previously on the slides. Okay, and the only thing that's going to be different when you see the code is that it will have your pixel ID rather than mine, which I've grayed out for the purposes of this video, but you will have your own pixel ID in there. Okay, so that's the base pixel. Now if we come back over here, you'll see we have the view content code under here. So I'm going to take that, the view content code, and I'm going to put it into my text editor just so I've got all these in one place. And then I've got my add to cart specific code here. And then finally, if I press see more, we should see somewhere down here the purchase code, which is right here. Okay, and as you can see in the purchase code, what it's actually done is it's put in a place where we can put the value of the purchase, which is going to be very useful in our Facebook reports later, so we can see how much revenue particular ads have generated. Okay, but instead of where it has this 0.00, we're going to replace that with a specific piece of code which is going to replace that with the value or the total checkout price from Shopify. And I've written this down here so we can just paste it straight in. Okay, so this little bit of code, we're going to just replace the 0.00 with that piece of code, and that is going to, when we paste it into the correct place in our store, that's going to put the correct total price of the checkout into the pixel code and send it back to Facebook. Okay, so we now can get rid of that, have all of the different pieces of code that we're going to paste into our Shopify store. Okay, so let's start off with the base pixel code. Come back over and we're going to go into the Shopify store. This is just a test store I've set up, and we're going to come to online store and then themes. And then under this menu with the 3 dots, you'll find edit HTML/CSS. Okay, and this is where all of the code that drives your store is kept. Okay, and the place to put the base code is within this main template, which is called theme.liquid. So you're going to click on theme.liquid, and at this point, don't worry if you don't understand the code, because it really doesn't matter. You just got to do one specific thing, which is find the place where you'll find this whole first section starts where it says head like this, and it ends where it says /head like this. And we just want to paste our base code just before the end of the head section. So we're just going to create some space in here to put our code, and we can then paste it in right here. Okay, so there's our Facebook pixel code pasted in, and that is literally all we need to do. So we can hit save. So that's the base pixel code, and that, because of the place we've pasted it within this theme.liquid file, that is now going to be present on every single page on our store. So from that point we can come to the next part, which is the view content code. So I'm going to copy that. We want to put the view content code on every single one of our product pages. So the page where we want to change this is product.liquid. Okay. So we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom past all of the code, and we're going to paste in our view content pixel there. And all we need to do is make sure that just before the code we put this small snippet of code, script in angle brackets, and then afterwards we do the same thing but with a /. So angular brackets / script, close angular brackets. Okay, so that is now our view content pixel in place, and we can save it and then come back over and pick up our add to cart code and come back over again. This is going to go in cart.liquid, which is the template for our cart page, and once again we come all the way down to the bottom past all of the code and paste it in here, and once again we put angular brackets script, close angular brackets, and then at the end we open open the angular brackets, / script, close the angular brackets, and then we hit save. Okay, so we've updated the product and the cart pages, and all we have to do now is come over to add our purchase pixel code. So first we're going to pick up the base code, the reason for this being that the checkout section, and specifically the thank you page for the checkout, which is where we want to put this script, is in a different section, governed by a different set of templates than what you've changed so far. So we're going to need to put the base code in as well. Okay, so we're going to copy the base code, go back over to our Shopify store, and this section is within the settings section of the admin. So I'm going to firstly start off by opening the settings section in a new tab, and you're then going to need to find the checkout section, and then scroll down slightly, and you'll find this section, additional content and scripts. Okay, so these are the scripts which are going to execute on the thank you page that appears after a customer's completed a checkout. So we can make this a little larger and paste our code in here. Okay, and all we're going to need to do is add the purchase event to this piece of code. So if we go back again to our text editor, pick up this purchase event right here, come back over, and the place we're going to paste is just after the page view. Okay, because we have all of the code in one place, we can do it like this rather than do it separately like we did in the previous section. So just enter after the page view event and paste in the purchase event like that. So we now have a page view and a purchase both tracked, and that's the complete code, and we can hit save. Okay, so that completes the basic pixel setup. Okay, so we're going to have pixels in place on our Shopify store for page view, and then view content, add to cart, and purchase. So this is the complete setup which you can use to get going with your Facebook advertising. We will revisit this later in Module 6, the advanced Facebook tracking section, where I'll show you how you can add more data to the pixels you've already created, which will enable you to do some more interesting things with your Facebook ads. But this is the completion of the basic pixel setup. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.